Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is our Simple Abundance year with Sarah Von Bronick's book, Simple Abundance, our 365-day journey through her principles on our way to a more balanced and joyful life. How are you guys doing so far here in May? More than halfway through the month now. We've been mostly talking this month about home. So many different thoughts about it. I've been combining a few days at a time because a lot of the things that she's saying are really overlapping. So I'm not really dedicating a full video to each day at a time like some of the other topics that were maybe not so connected. So we are talking about how we feel in our homes. We're talking about whether we have certain elements like the feng shui principles going on, if there's balance, what we're getting from the home or what we're not getting from the home, and we're getting rid of things maybe. I told you guys about my challenge to find space that I haven't thought that I have had, and it's been pretty interesting because so far I have actually found quite a bit of space. Even like I have a closet that has my furnace in it, and there's space on both sides of the furnace that I was not using. And so, for instance, I have a folding table. And I was always like, where do I put this? So it fits perfectly right there. And so I'm slowly but surely finding some space. I have a long way to go, but I have been working on that, and I will keep you guys posted. My goal is to get everything from my storage unit into some sort of space that I have in my house. I've gotten frustrated in some respect, so I've been sort of trying to think of how maybe in my spare bathroom I can stack up some of the storage totes and then decoratively hide them. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's what I'm working on. So in the May 18th entry in the new book, she calls it What Lies Beneath. And she's talking to us about how we may keep personal mementos around. And I did mention this before when I was talking about how you might have trouble letting go of something that maybe was a gift or something that you don't really love, but it has some sort of sentimental or family value to it. So she encourages us in this entry to walk into our houses and pretend that we've never been there before. And she wants us to go around, and I already told you about the evaluation that I did, like a survey in most of the rooms. I didn't take it this far, but this is another layer to that. Go around and look for these mementos and see if they're keeping you stuck or in the past. If you're okay with that, then that's okay. But if they're holding you back from moving forward, or if they bring up any sort of negative emotions like sadness or disappointment, loneliness, to name a few, then it's time to make some changes. I had to sit with this one a little bit because I am really sentimental, so I definitely have some things around. But for the most part, they do bring me satisfaction. So I don't see it as a negative. And I see it more as like an authentic expression of who Carolyn is to the world. But there were a couple of things that I thought might be time to make a change. So I'm considering that. What about you guys? Let me know in the comments. Then in May 19th and 20th, we're getting back into the idea that we touched upon a little bit, where home is a sacred place. We talked about this way back in February, where we're talking about carving out a little space for yourself. And, oh, do I have my glasses? Yeah. I wanted to read what she says about something being sacred. Let's see if I can find it. Your home is sacred space, a sacred space with your address. Most people think of these places as mundane. Pity. If we ever needed them to be sacred, we need it now. Unfortunately for us all, the expression sacred space, in quotes, is becoming a cliche, as the use of the word soul is as well. What does the expression sacred space mean to you? Hallowed, holy, blessed, sanctified, she asks. Why, yes, according to the dictionary, that's the common usage. But how about happy, enchanted, wondrous, magical? Let's think again. Unfortunately, holier than thou, quote, can be so loaded with religious meanings. They make us think of things like saintly, moralistic, righteous, pious, devout. These words hold pressure to be a certain kind of good, in quotes, that scares many people. And so they should. This is a quote from Catherine Robin. Instead, Catherine would like us to expand the expression sacred space to mean, quote, something much more innocent, more clean, more possible. Sacred comes from the root word meaning whole. To be your own sacred self, holy you, then is to be connected to the divine spirit, God, Mother Earth, the universe, life force, however you perceive it. When you say something is sacred to you, you mean it is special to you in an intrinsic way. Maybe it helps you feel more whole. Depending on where you're coming from, you may discover sacred space in a church, a temple, a mountain grove, a rocky beach, an art museum, or even the historic home of Elvis, Virginia Woolf, or Jackie Robinson. I know I'm reading a lot, and by the way, I have the window open, so sorry if you're hearing background noise. Admit it, you're smiling, she says. This thought is so smile-provoking, so hold it today as you walk around the rooms where you live. Where are you happiest in your home? Something to think about. That spot is sacred to you then. Sacred space feels inspiring, peaceful, comforting, or healing to body, mind, and spirit. Healing also comes from the word for whole, of sound body and mind. When the space is your own house, it is easier to feel whole and connected in your daily life. I just read almost the entire entry for May 19th, but I couldn't stop because it just seemed to be all so perfect. So what do you guys think about as sacred space? I agree that term can be sort of cliche, but I do feel like I consider my home to be sacred. I don't let just anybody in the door. I had a neighbor one time knock on the door, and I don't know, maybe this might have been rude, but it was like, I've never met this person before. In fact, I don't even actually know if this person was a neighbor. They told me they lived right nearby. I was a bit suspicious, and I just don't let anybody in my house. So we talked on my front step, and that was fine. And that was just my comfort level because I'm pretty selective about who comes in and protective of it. And I usually don't wear my shoes in the house unless I'm like running in to get something that I forgot. I usually do take my shoes off, like we talked a little bit about that with the feng shui. Definitely don't wear shoes in my bedroom ever. And I try not to wear them in my office either. Pretty much have just my slippers on usually, or socks. So along with the sacred space, this is not from the book, but you know that I like to add my own little flavor to things. I gathered some things because when we were talking about feng shui, and now with this thought of sacred space, it made me think about the concept of space clearing. That is an element of the feng shui tradition as well. And there are people that are certified, or I'm not sure what the diplomate situation is for being a space clearer, but there are professionals that can do this for you. And again, I am not an expert in this either, but I just thought I would bring up some things that you can do. So what is space clearing? So space clearing would basically be like going around and moving the energy in a room and blessing it in some ways, and just getting the energy flowing. Like, remember with feng shui we talked about even just opening up the windows and how beneficial that can be to just get the chi, we called it, the life force moving through the house, or having running water, things like that, like a fountain going in certain areas to get the energy going, or having a cat, which I can see around, running in and out of rooms. That can definitely help. So when you're thinking about space clearing, this springtime would be a great time to do it, when you're actually, we're already talking about cleaning, and we're talking about getting clearer with our own selves, our authentic selves, and finding ourselves. So it could be anytime you want to make a fresh start. Maybe you just moved in somewhere. That's really a great time to do some sort of energetic clearing in the space to get the old energy of the past people that lived there out. And this doesn't have to be any sort of like crazy voodoo sort of sounding. If I'm losing you there with, like, I'm not talking about like ghosts and stuff. You may have those sort of thoughts as well, and some people space clear for that. But this is really just, I think, for myself, when I think of space clearing, and I wouldn't want to go around and do this right now because it's been a while, but when I think about it as like a blessing and an intention in each room to just, not unlike the home love, home caring that we did. This is like another aspect of that, of going around in a room. Like, you can do it as easily, I should have grabbed an incense stick. Like, you could just light an incense stick and go up and down in the various angles of the room. You could be saying a prayer or talking to it. I love you, office. Thank you for all the prosperity that you bring me, and I love working in you, and thank you for, you can just be talking to it basically. This is all about your own intention and what you're going to do. You could go online and do research. There's YouTube videos, there's plenty of websites if you want to get super technical about it. There's even space clearing ceremony kits you can buy and everything. Most of them do have white candles in them, and I usually keep white candles around a lot. Because with any sort of, like, maybe if I'm going to honor the full moon or something like that, I like to have white candles. I mentioned, or I think I did. Well, I know I mentioned this. Remember a few years ago, I told you guys when we got together, my girlfriends and I, and we made our own little essential oil blends. I made some what I call peace potion, which I will spray around my office. Sometimes I keep it in my office. There's also, this is some sage, white sage, that you can buy at most health food or holistic gift shops, health food stores. And you can get it burning sort of like incense. And sage is one of the best things for space clearing. You can also grab a feather and sort of like get the smoke going. If you recognize this feather, it's usually in my living room in a lamp. And she's sleeping in the window, but Annabelle stole this. This was given to me by a friend. Annabelle stole the feather, took it under the couch where she likes to hide. And I actually had forgotten about it. And then she brought it out, I don't know, 6 months ago. And I was like, what do you have? So anyway, I put it up there in the, I have it as sort of an ornament. I love feathers because I love birds. This is a really cool feather. But anyway, I thought maybe she would try to steal it from the lamp, but she's let it be. So you could do some sage, and like I said, you could have a feather. What I was going to say is that I also have a liquid form of sage spray. So it's a smudging is what they call that when you do that with either incense or sage, when you're going around and getting the scent, the smoke. Like even in ceremonies sometimes, like a shaman may actually like use sage to cleanse your aura, if you will. I don't know all about that, and I'm not a shaman myself. You can also put gemstones around in specific places. Like the more you look into feng shui or little suggestions for abundance or balance in the home, you may find that there will be certain gemstones, like this is an amethyst gemstone that typically is known to be able to collect negative energy in it. And there's even, like, again, I'm not an expert in any of this, but you can put them out in the full moon and cleanse them every so often. But you may want to put this in a certain place based on your desires. This is so fun. Look at this little mini cauldron I have too. So this is something that you could use something like a little mini cauldron, or like this is the bottom of a terracotta pot for outside, for it, because you want to have something, because otherwise you're going to start a fire. So you want to have something to burn it in. And they even sell these charcoal little briquettes that you can use, and then you can use like frankincense and other sort of granulated things to burn. And I personally am not a fan of the smell of that charcoal, so I don't do that often, but this is just fun. I've had this for years. What else? You always want to have matches. Just grabbed a couple things. So be thinking about some sort of home cleansing that you can do, because there's other things you can. I should have grabbed a little bell. I have a bell. You can go around and ring the bell to get the energy going. You could clap. So again, if all of this stuff sounds super woo-woo to you and it's nothing you would ever do, then no problem. It's just something else to think about though, and to just somehow be blessing your home and connecting with it more. And the incense, I love to burn the incense, so that is something that I'm most inclined to do, because I don't always have sage on site. So going around with incense, and in fact, when I used to I owned a retail shop years ago, and every night when I would vacuum, the vacuuming in a sense was also me. I was like singing a song when I would do it. I'd be like, sweep, sweep, sweep away. Like I had just made up this whole thing about like how I was clearing out like everybody that had come in that day and their energy, and just sort of like starting fresh. Remember we talked about how when you're bathing your body in the bath, how that can be a sacred, cleansing, soul connecting time. This is again like you connecting with your home and giving it that energetic nod of moving things around. Not only like the 27 physical items that I wonder if you're moving, but also getting the energy moving. And so some other reasons, like you may want to do it if you just moved into a house. Like I said, you might want to do it if you just had a breakup, like especially in your bedroom, to get that moved out. And in fact, I was reading something one time that said after you're done with this, that you should open your front door and I think it's open your back door and like let everything out, and then open your front door and just like say what you want to welcome in now once everything is cleared out. So let me know if you do anything like this. Hopefully you don't think it's super crazy. I'm into so many different things, and half of them I know maybe like 50% of what they really are, but again, it's all about your intention. So if you're going to give anything power, like if you are going to believe that maybe you don't know what this gemstone is and you believe that it's going to attract love to you, well then if you are going to put power into that, that's what's going to happen, because it's going to be in your consciousness, so you're going to believe that. So anyway, it's all about your own intention and how you go about it. So I hope you have fun with it. That's the whole point, is to just do something fun. And May 20th is about reverence. And this is a talk, actually it's a good tie-in with all the things that I just said, where if I said that I lost you a little bit with some of that woo-woo talk. She's bringing us back around to the fact that this simple abundance path is also a spiritual path. But it doesn't matter, she says in here, it doesn't matter what you believe in, or if you're even feeling like it is a spiritual path. But she does say, even if you are totally agnostic and not really going through this book with that in mind, that no matter what, you will start to see the mysterious things that are all coming together and the synchronicities of life. I love synchronicity. I commented on somebody's comment last week about how, it was about the window washing. I just said, I love synchronicity. This is something from Sarah talking to us as we are here now in the month of May. We've been on this journey for 4.5 months now. A few months ago, you might not have believed this, and she's talking about what she's saying about it being a spiritual experience. You might not have believed this could be true, but with each day on the Simple Abundance path, you have become more open to the mystery, the magic, and the majesty of the master plan because you're committed to your own spiritual awakening. You don't have to just believe anymore because you know. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know where you're at on this path. I am having a major transformation this year myself, more than any other time that I've gone through this book. There have been other times that I was really connected to it at the beginning of the year, and then right around this time, the whole fashion section, was like, let me get through this. By the time June came around, I was just done, So I'm really glad to have you guys along with me. And that year, 2018, that I did it with some girlfriends was also really powerful as well. But even that year, I didn't feel like I'm coming alive as much as I am this year. And this year has certainly been much more challenging, I'm sure for you guys too, but more than any other year ever for me. So it's interesting that it's turning around to have this really amazing effect on me personally, and it's for the better. When I go back and look at some of the entries back from February, it was bad. It was really difficult for me every single day to get up and face the world. I felt like the amount that was on me as far as expectations and unrealistic expectations, I guess, also that I had for myself and my future and everything, I couldn't bear it. I was really putting on a very brave face. I still have a brave face on right now too, because there's so much uncertainty right now in the world and in my own life. But maybe there's a part of me that just surrendered so much that it's just like, what am I gonna do? So that does make me feel a little bit more free. So I'm grateful. I've been adding more and more blessings to my Blessings of COVID-19 page in my journal, and I hope you are as well. I don't know what the future holds in just about every area of my life right now, honestly. And I didn't know that a few months ago either, but I still felt like I was more responsible for it than I do now. I've given it up to just having positive thoughts about whatever happens is gonna be the way it's supposed to be. Remember my affirmation deck, that everything is always working out for me? I feel like I've been emulating that a lot more lately. So, hope you're feeling that way as well. Let me know in the comments. This channel is all about joy, harmony, beauty, order, simplicity, and gratitude. And there's so much of that goes into our house and the house of our soul too. Thanks for letting me share. Love talking to you guys. I will be back later in the week, and I have a special video coming up before Memorial Day too that you'll want to tune into. I always look forward to your comments, so can't wait to hear from you. Annabelle says hello too. She's woken up now. Love to you all, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.